Spoiler alert, Lauren and I both have depression.
Yeah. I mean, no one's told a story like, want to hear what I did this week? It's really cool. I was, like, really depressed. That was tough because Taco's desperately trying to lick my hands.
Taco hears the word record and he like goes wild. He just wants to be the star of the internet.
Exactly. He's like, oh, we're recording now? Oh, hello, I'm here.
I hate to break it to you, Taco, but you could have picked a podcast with more fame.
Yeah.
If you want to get like big on the internet, I don't know if Pickles and Vodka. Welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast that doesn't have any fame, but
it does have Taco.
Oh, sorry. It's just like the sound of him licking himself now. Right in my ears. Oh my god. What's like the opposite of ASMR?
Yeah.
That intro was just a test run. Do you have a better tagline or?
Oh, I did. I did have a tagline.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's try again.
Yeah, let's try again.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
And welcome to Pickles and Vodka, the mental health podcast where sometimes we just show up, and that's enough.
That is enough. Honestly, I'm Christina, by the way. We forgot last episode.
Oh, yes, and I'm Lauren.
Yeah, in case you somehow didn't know who we were. I love that tagline because that's literally what I was just thinking. I was like, man, I don't know what we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to show up.
That was actually why I came up with it, because I was thinking, I was just like, I'm just going to show up, okay?
It's perfect. We'll see what happens when neither of us know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, where are you at this week?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that question either.
I mean, I don't know.
Because that's the same way. I feel like this week has just been existing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I've also felt like that this week. I mean, I have like a scant skeleton outline of things to talk about. So maybe I can go first and we can just like see where it goes. I wrote in my journal, I don't feel like myself. Like, I feel very numb and like I don't really have any interest in doing anything. And then when I do, I'm so critical of myself while I'm doing it. I like stop doing it. And so I just don't do anything because nothing's good enough. Yeah. I don't know if you can relate to that at all. I was going to say, I think I'm feeling kind of similar to that, except maybe not so much the critical piece. Like, it really is just, total numbness. So it's more like not critical so much as just, what's the point? Spoiler alert, Lauren and I both have depression.
Yeah. This may come as a shock after hearing this.
Yeah, maybe critical isn't the right word. I don't know. Okay, here's something we can talk about. When I show up like this on the podcast, depressed and not feeling like myself and really feeling the symptoms of my depression, I feel like I can't talk about it in the same way that like if something had physically happened to me, like let's say I twisted my ankle this week, I would have had a great story about it.
Yes.
And I would have told you every detail. But because all I did this week was like rot in my depression and do other things that I definitely don't want to talk about, I feel like I can't talk about it, or I don't want to talk about it because I'm worried about like people being bored or sad or whatever.
Yeah, like for one, I mean, that is kind of the nature of it. I mean, no one's told a story like, want to hear what I did this week? It's really cool. I was like really depressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, I feel, especially like both of us are at least somewhat functioning usually in our depression. And so it does kind of seem like, am I just making a big deal out of something? What is even the big deal? And yeah, no one's going to be able to offer a solution. So it goes back to the people pleasing. Like, I can't talk about my depression and make people feel good because they don't have a solution for me.
Yeah, or like you don't want to put the pressure of finding a solution on other people. And maybe the reason we think that is because secretly we're trying to come up with solutions for ourselves and for our friends who are struggling. Like a lot of it is projection because obviously people care about us and what we're going through.
Yeah.
Not just on the podcast, but in real life too, I'm assuming. Like,
yeah.
But like, okay, this week, I don't think my sister will mind me talking about this. We had a little argument, and she called me out for really withdrawing from her and not giving her, like, details about my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pissed. I was like, I can be private if I want to. Like, I don't have to tell you every detail. Like, why do you want to know anyway? Like, it's not that important.
No, I was immediately seeing both sides because I was like, yeah, I could understand where she's coming from, but I would understand my immediate reaction too. It would be like, well, I'm not required to tell you about my life.
Yeah. And then she said, I don't know why you think that I'm not interested, but like, I am interested in your life. And I didn't know what to say to that. So yeah, I feel like it's really getting old at this point. The downward spiral and the rotting and the ruminating and isolation. It's just, what else can I say that's new at this point, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel on this podcast too sometimes, even though it's a mental health podcast.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I'm just like, what can I say that has not been said already?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel a lot of times like I just come back week after week like, oh, the same thing I was talking about last week. I'm so exciting. Nothing has changed.
I mean, last week, I'm trying to think of where you were at now.
I know.
I know you had had a good conversation with your boyfriend about the house cleaner.
Yeah.
Who insisted on talking about traumatic subjects to you.
On the worst possible day to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel any sort of emotional hangover from that day?
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like just the overall time that I'm in, like, it still is kind of just like hanging over my head. I've been talking about this in therapy, like, this is what she feels like. It's like, well, you know, it's the first anniversary of like a really, really traumatic day for you, and it just makes sense. She's like, I feel like with a lot of people with that, it kind of like really just colors the whole like month or so beforehand and after, that it's like, it's not just like that particular day, like that might be the worst, but
yeah, that's rough. People don't really think about that, like how it's not just the day, like it's the anticipation, or should I say like the dread.
Yeah.
And then afterwards there must be a sense of loss too, all over again. Like, at least that's how I imagine it. Because even if you're like dreading the day, there's at least like something not to look forward to, but like to prepare for.
Yeah, like I hadn't thought of that, but the beforehand, that makes sense, that it is kind of like the anticipation and dread. And then, yeah, the after, I think, is just also, like you said, that it's just kind of like the hangover.
Yeah. And you're like, now I don't even have this date, like everyone's moved on, but I'm still left here with like nothing. Like, I don't have my dog. I don't even have this chance to like talk about it anymore because the date has moved on and people have moved on and no one wants to hear about that. I mean, is that how you feel?
Yeah.
A little bit.
You know, like it feels like you could reach out to someone and be like, wow, I'm having a really hard day because it's, you know, it's the first anniversary of my dog dying and he was really important to me, and everyone would be like, yeah, you know, I understand and everything, but can you reach out to somebody? I mean, you can, but it's not as natural or what expected, I guess, to, you know, reach out to someone and be like, yeah, so it's the 1 year, 1 month, and 6 day anniversary of my dog passing. Like, what?
Why do we think it's okay to break down only on like acceptable days?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels like you need permission.
Ooh, yeah. But like, permission from who, you know?
Permission from the world. We believe there's all these like set rules that we impose on ourselves that are just arbitrary. Okay,
yeah. That is kind of what I talked about in therapy this week, going back to like the critical voice that like keeps me paralyzed. We were doing that thing where we look at the quote unquote negative behavior and we like think about what good it's doing, like why we developed it in the first place. And one of the reasons I'm so critical of myself is because it gives me rules to live by and linear actions to follow. So even if I'm doing badly, I'm like, well, I just have to follow the rules better and I'll be good. If I meet expectations, then I can belong. I can like redeem myself. We use that word redeemed a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, rules are very comforting.
Yeah.
As stifling as they are.
Well, and I think, like, for people in situations like we are, where you just do feel a lot of times like you're just kind of like free-falling and don't know which way is up, then a rule suggests that there's an end result. I just need to follow these rules. Like, that can be comforting.
Yeah, exactly. But I know something I've said on this podcast before a ton is like, no one is ever going to give as much of a shit about you as you.
Mm-hmm.
But also, no one is going to give you rules to live by except for you. Like, no one is going to give you goals. Like,
yeah.
It's not like a video game. You walk up to a character and they give you a new quest.
Yeah, I love that.
Look at me with the metaphors today.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get your approval. But yeah, realizing that has its own kind of grief. Like, I grew up super religious and everything was very linear and there's literally a book of rules to follow. And so in a way I was trained not to rely on myself. The opposite, in fact. Like, I am not trustworthy. I'm sinful and I'm not going to make good decisions on my own.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought of that, but I mean, both of us, you more than me, I'd say, but I'm pretty sure we both were told, like, there actually is a rule book for life. It's called the Bible.
Yeah, and you don't know what you're doing. Like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think both of us, we did have different backgrounds, but also there are a lot of similarities, and I feel like as adults, we're both kind of a similar type of person who, like, looks for permission to do things.
Oh, yeah.
And no one's going to give you that.
I mean, I think I've talked on here before how just I've never gotten rid of the weird feeling that's natural, I think, when you're a kid, but it's weird to me as an adult that it's just kind of like anyone who has any sort of power, you know, like if I take a class, the teacher, and at work, you know, a boss or supervisor, then it always feels like the adult that I have to listen to that will discipline me, yes, and tell me what to do because I am just a young child when I'm there.
Oh, yeah, the authority figure.
Mm-hmm.
I have such a deep-seated fear of authority, and I'm trying to have little moments of microaggressions where I like exposure therapy, kind of.
Yeah.
Like an example would be like I was going to say smoking weed while you're driving by a cop car, but that's not a great I don't want to be a bad example either. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily what to do, but sometimes I just try to at least remind myself because, I mean, I'm thinking, like, at work, our boss is 1 year younger than me, and yet when I'm there, I feel like I'm in second grade and he's my teacher who, you know, in second grade was also a nun. So it gives you a whole nother layer of, like, authority. Yeah. But that's what it feels like. I feel like a second grade kid, and that's my teacher that I have to listen to because that's what you do when you're in second grade, and that's your teacher. And yeah, sometimes I do just, like, sit back and be like, we're literally the same age. Like, just because he has more money than me and ostensibly could just fire me for no reason, it doesn't mean that I have to act like you're just this, like, godly figure or anything like that. It's just like I have to give you the basic respect that you give your boss. That's all.
Yeah. As you were talking, I remembered something I wanted to talk about before, which was, like, the moment where you realize that your authority figures aren't as infallible as you thought, or they aren't as smart as you thought. 'Cause yeah, I also view bosses that way. I always have. And when I was at Starbucks, I had a management role. I was a shift supervisor, and I worked at many different stores with many different managers, and some of them were just, like, awful at their jobs.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I felt like I was doing more work with them. I felt like I cared more than them. And of course, like, it wasn't that serious. I also give an inordinate amount of weight to my jobs that don't deserve it.
Fair, I do the same.
That's, like, another conversation. But yeah, that was when I first started realizing, like, it doesn't take much to get in a management position. Like, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give them magical powers or like it doesn't make them wiser than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, like they still screw up, or even like I know you can't just go by like age alone, but for some reason that is
Of
something
course.
that really just kind of like affects me when I start to realize these people are like my age or younger. I think because
yeah.
it just really signifies once I realize that, like, well, hang on, in that case, I've had a lot of life experience that you don't know about, and like you've probably had some that I haven't, but I've probably had a lot that you haven't. So it's not like you are this all-wise being who has lived all, and I am just this silly newbie who knows nothing. It's like, no, I know a lot. You might know some I don't, but I know a lot that you don't know, and I've been through a lot that you can't imagine.
I've been thinking about how everyone is doing life for the first time. Like, that's so cheesy, but
but it's true.
Everyone is basically a kid inside. Like, everyone feels that amount of like imposter syndrome, I think. Like, it's like a game we're all playing with no rules that we all somehow have agreed that we're making up as we go.
Yeah.
And the people with the loudest voices with the most like confidence often get leadership roles because
yes.
Yeah, of course they do. But like they don't know what is happening either.
Right.
And I don't know what's more terrifying, relying on leaders with more information or realizing that none of the leaders actually have information.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I have to admit, it does piss me off when I think, like, I'm not going to get listened to in the same way because I wasn't taught to be rude and speak over people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are, like, the factors of, like, gender and class and race and all that stuff that, like, complicates things. Like, some people just have more of a voice than others in this life. And I don't know. I need to, like, rein it in a little. I'm, like, casting my net super wide and starting to, like, I don't know. I had this moment in therapy that was kind of like this, where I just kind of froze and I didn't know what to say. And it was really embarrassing.
Really?
Well, because I consider myself a pretty verbose person.
Yeah. You've talked on a podcast once or twice.
Yeah, and so when I don't have the words, I immediately feel like I'm being judged or like I'm disappointing someone.
Maybe because I would say, like, I definitely feel like that a lot, but I would think, like, in a therapy session is maybe the one place I wouldn't feel like that. So that's why when you first said that, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not sure I understand. But I understand it as a whole, for sure. Like, once you started talking, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in that situation all the time. I'm just kind of like, I know that I have good coherent thoughts, but I'm just drawing a blank, and I feel like it makes me look stupid.
Yeah, I have good thoughts. Coherent, I don't know about that. But
they are in my head. It's just once I try to speak them, I'm not so sure they're always that way.
Yeah, maybe it's just an indicator that I'm still masking in therapy. And that's something I need to work on. I mean, it's a normal thing to do that. Like, we mask on the podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that does make a lot of sense because I also am thinking of, like, my own therapy sessions now, and, I've talked about it a lot, how, like, she's somebody that cancels a lot and not always the most reliable, but she felt like the best for me. And I do think that, like, after the sessions, I'm like, yeah, it's because I've had a shit ton of therapists, and, most of the time after I leave the session, that's when I'm just kind of amazed, and I'm like, this is the only one that I feel like just completely gets me, not going to judge anything. I'm like, it's the only time in a therapy setting where I feel like I can be 100% open and 100% myself, and that's what I feel like you should be. So yeah, that's why even with some faults, this is the one that's worth it.
That's awesome. I love that it's working out for you.
Yeah, we talked about if you want to just, kind of tangent.
Always.
Because I did really, respect this. I thought it was an interesting thing to talk about because I think I mentioned last week, and I mentioned to her in our last session that I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm back to the point where what I call it, is passively suicidal. Like, I'm not going to do anything, but just kind of don't care to wake up. and haven't felt that way in a while, but, I know what it feels like. It sucks. So after talking about that, then, like a standard therapist, then she asked me before I leave, she's like, I know we talked about this, but, I just need to know, like, you're not planning to actually do anything, right? And I was like, no. And then she let me know that she's just like, I also want you to know that I take a pretty unique stance, which, first of all, she's like, I don't want you to ever be afraid to say anything like that. I will never call anyone on you. I won't call a hospital. I won't call the cops, not even if you tell me, like, I have a plan right now. She's just like, I don't think that's helpful. And I did agree, because I said, like, I've known a lot of people, I feel like I've heard, going to therapy and feeling, like maybe a danger to themselves in some way, but their comments is always like, but I don't want to say anything because I'll get chucked in the hospital or something like that. And just realized, like, well, yeah, then that makes your therapy kind of pointless if you're afraid to talk about the worst things, because you're afraid of, like, what the outcome would be.
You feel like a liability.
Mm-hmm. Or you're afraid how they'll react, and you don't want that. You don't want to be thrown in a hospital. You're just like, like, you can't trust them to know that you're going to keep yourself safe enough. Like, that's, maybe what you believe, but you're like, but if I say it all, they're going to misread, and they're going to overreact, and, I'm going to lose my freedom.
Yeah. Talk about authority figure.
Yeah, then it's like, well, then I don't know that your therapy is as safe of a space as you might think.
Wow, mind blown. Wow, I that's so interesting that she said that. I'm having all these thoughts, like, swirl around in my head right now. Like, my knee-jerk reaction kind of surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling kind of like, oh, that's irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
And I had a second of thinking that too, I know. But
yeah, and that's weird, because on paper, I totally agree with everything you said. Maybe it's a projection because I don't trust myself.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I felt like that for a second, when we were discussing that, I was like, well, hang on, though. I think that reaction might be, what a lot of us feel, which is kind of like this need for someone to save us.
Oh, yeah, to be redeemed.
Yeah, and it's kind of saying, like, oh, wait, so you're saying that, I can't put my shit out there and say, save me?
Oh my God, yeah. Attention is not a bad thing. Yeah, we know. And I think I'm starting to realize attention is something that I need a lot, and I don't like to admit that because it still sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you have, like, an eating disorder or a history of, like, suicide attempts or whatever, you're like, I always have this thing up my sleeve that I can take out in therapy sessions, and I can get attention. Like, I can get people to worry about me because I need it. Like, I need someone to worry about me right now. And then when you realize, oh, no one's, like, I'm masking so well, actually no one's worried about me. Or, like,
yeah,
with your therapist, like, they see me, but because they view me as a person with autonomy, they're not freaking out. And, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's like you start to, even though I don't think it's a bad response, I feel, like, when you're in that space, you do maybe, like, start to convince yourself in your head that it's just kind of like, oh, I guess that means I'm just not worth caring about.
Yeah, God. This is a random question. Oh, also, I think it's hilarious that last week's episode was so dark. Like, we talked about suicide and, like, I don't know. I feel like the title was kind of misleading.
What was it? I don't remember.
I just called it Catching Up.
Oh, just like, hey, girl, let's talk about all the worst shit in our life.
Y'all, coming up with the titles is really hard sometimes, and most of the time when I'm about to schedule it, I'm at the point where I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, fair.
And so... and then just now you're like, hey, want to go on a tangent? Suicide!
Yeah! But I will say, I mean, she did end it by, she just said, like, pretty much, I don't want you to think that it means I don't care, that it's like, yeah, if you do something, I would be very upset, and if you ask, I will give you any resources you want. It was just, more like, I'm not going to take your autonomy from you. I'm going to care. I'm going to do everything I can, but...
It's kind of like putting the ownership of your mental health on you.
Mm-hmm.
What a concept. Another thing we talked about was when we think of ourselves, like, how do I say this? My notes are always really hard to decipher from therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, when you think of yourself now, what age do you picture yourself at? / what age do you feel like? And then when you think of the idealized version of yourself, how old do you think that version is?
Oh, that's really interesting.
For me, it all started with this criticism stuff. I was like, well, why do I feel like I'm always being criticized? I have no agency. I'm overwhelmed by my feelings. I want respect and answers. I'm a teenager.
Yep.
On the inside, I feel like a teenager, 100%.
That's funny. That was my first answer because you said that and I just thought high school. I feel like I'm high school age.
Are we emotionally undeveloped?
Maybe.
But then my therapist was like, okay, but, how old is the self that is guiding you? Like my idealized self. And I think you're going to laugh, but I said my 40s.
You know what's funny?
Because
my answer to that, I thought my 30s.
my God.
Our idealized selves are each other.
I don't know what that means. What does it mean?
We're both screwed up teenagers, but our idealized selves are each other's age.
That's funny. Why do you think that is for you?
I don't know, because that's why when you first said that, I was like, that's the most interesting question, because that was just the answer that popped in my head. And I was like, my idealized self is still younger than me? That's weird.
Do you think it's that you miss who you were at that time and you associate that version with your truest self? Or is it that it's an idealized version of your 30s that you wished you had had?
What I think is because I do still feel like I haven't progressed much past, like 16, 17. So I'm coming at it from like a teenage mind where that still sounds like a grown-up.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Oh boy. But yeah, it's more like it's not like wanting to go back. It's like because I feel like I'm still 17, that still feels like going forward. It's like, wow, I'll have it all together in 20 years when I'm 30.
Yeah, honestly, same. I mean, I am in my early 30s and I feel like I'm just starting to experience puberty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing with me. I feel like, well, I don't know, because I don't associate my 30s with being an adult. Maybe it is because, I don't know.
In my experience, I don't know. At least at this time in the world, it seems like 30s and 40s kind of run together. So that is just sort of like a teenager, like, oh, and an established adult. You could pick either of those.
Well, yeah, when I was an actual teenager, I did think of 30s as being an established adult. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought your 20s was like when you got married and had kids. And so by your 30s, you're like,
right,
established. But I don't know a lot of millennials that think that way anymore because the 30s really is the new 20s now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's all, like you said, arbitrary. But 30s, yeah, sounds really young to me now.
Yeah. And plus the longer that, that I go through life and don't feel like I've matured in a lot of ways, and then, yeah, it definitely feels like age is nothing.
Yeah. Another question my therapist asked was, what kind of person would your teenage self respect?
And
that was interesting because the person I described was kind of like the person I am now.
Oh.
Not just like aesthetically, like covered in tattoos and like just I'm writing, I'm doing the podcast, I have 2 cats. Like on paper, my teenage self would be thrilled to have this life.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to remind myself of that sometimes, like how much autonomy I've actually gained over the years.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to feel out of control in the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
But like, when we really didn't have control was when we were fucking teenagers.
Yeah. That's true.
Not to use the C word on here.
But yeah, thinking of that, like thinking of me now, and like if I told my teenage self, it's kind of like, here's a version of you that, lives alone, bought her own place, pays all her bills, has a decent car, and it sounded like, wow, she's really made it.
You're in a band?
Yeah.
And you do cool tricks in the air?
Yeah.
Not to go completely back to our first conversation, but I feel like these days I'm just kind of sleepwalking through my life. And that includes my hobbies. So like, I think it's interesting that you can be depressed and still be participating in all these hobbies and like seeing people, but it doesn't do what it used to do.
Yeah, I get that.
But for some reason, I still force myself to do everything.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes when I'm doing some stuff like that, like, yes, maybe say with the aerial stuff, like I'm just like not getting the same fulfillment out of it, but I'm still forcing myself to go and practice and stuff like that. Then usually like why I'm doing that is what's going through my head is maybe some form of hope, because it's kind of like thinking like I don't think that it's always going to be this way, and I don't want to, you know, suddenly have a little more drive and be excited about these hobbies again, but have to backtrack because I just let them fall by the wayside. Like I don't want that regret.
Yeah, you know what you're doing is you're parenting your teenage self.
Aww.
You're like, I know you don't want to go right now, but it's for your own good. Like, sometimes I literally have to talk to myself like that. Like, you treat it like medicine, almost.
Yeah, where it's like, right now, you don't really give a shit, but, you know, in, like, a month, you might be glad that you kept it up and you're still, you know, progressing and enjoying this. Yeah.
Could it be that part of us is still looking forward to the future?
What?
Oh my god.
That's why I said, I was like, it's weird. I think it might be driven by hope. Do I still have that? Maybe.
Ugh, that word is so strange in my ears because it's never uttered on this podcast.
I know.
I like hobbies because oftentimes it gives you something to look forward to, like something structured in your day. I mean, lately, a lot of my hobbies have been falling to the wayside, and then, you know, I just feel even guiltier. But I think there's other hobbies that you forget you have that are like really low energy and good for times like this. Like I've started reading again, like reading novels again that I read as a kid outside on my balcony, and I'll spend like hours out there and I feel like a lazy piece of shit at first. But afterwards, I'm just like, man, I used to love doing this as a kid. And maybe it's not bad to pursue your hobbies in a more gentle way.
Yeah, I don't
had
know. That. I mean, I don't think I've done any of this really like regularly, but I do, now that you mention, I'm thinking of times where it's like, maybe I do just have like an hour to kill and I don't know what to do with myself. And I just, you know, I have a couple of books here that I haven't read yet that I've wanted to. And I have sometimes picked it up, you know, like, you know what? I'm just going to sit on the couch and read. And it's weird because I don't know really how to describe it, but I have noticed that there is just some kind of like peace afterwards. That it's just like, yeah, I just sat down for an hour and did nothing but read. And it's just kind of like, that was nice.
Well, it's not nothing though.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because we've been so programmed that like we have to be productive at every moment. And if we're not like producing something visible, then it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And reading is one of those things that it actually has a lot of benefits, but from the outside, it doesn't look like it.
Right.
I mean, no shit. But like these days, I haven't been writing a lot and I guilt myself over that. Or like I haven't made a piece of artwork in forever. And so it's hard to get started reading because I'm just thinking I could be doing other things right now. But then if you give it a chance and really like get into it, I do feel so good after. And I feel like I have more ideas that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Me too.
Yeah. Like the best way to be a writer is to be a reader first. It's really true. And I forget that sometimes.
The other one I want to do more is sit down and play my piano.
Yes! Me too. Did you ever use the Hannon exercises?
Yes.
I've been trying to do those again lately. And I'm on number 23, and it's hard.
I don't think I have my Hannon book here anymore, but I usually try to work up like old sonatinas that I had, because they're also, you know, a lot of like scales and things like that. So I feel like it's a lot of technical work.
Yeah, it is. And I'm really impatient when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I love fast songs, but I'm always stumbling my way through them because I don't do exercises.
Right.
And, like, you're trying to make it sound like you know what you're doing.
Especially, like, for me, a lot of stuff, because I feel like I was probably at my peak when I was going to lessons and practicing every day. So, again, like, maybe 17, 18. And so sometimes, and because I don't play regularly now, then I pick up some of these things. And yeah, it frustrates me where it's like, well, why can't I just play it like I could then? Like after I'd been practicing it for 2 months. I want to do that right now because I know I had that ability.
Yeah, that was a really hard hurdle for me to cross when I first started getting back into piano because I couldn't play as well as I had when I was like in high school and college. And once I realized that I wasn't at that level anymore and that's okay, like I was able to start practicing more, like 15 minutes a day, just like little increments here and there.
Well, I know I try and remind myself too when I've thought that way. It's like, yeah, okay, so that was when you were in high school. And yes, time was taken up by going to school, but, you didn't have a job. You didn't have to pay bills. You didn't have to get your oil changed. You didn't have these responsibilities. So you could just say, like, what do I do with my free time? I guess I practice for my lesson.
Exactly. I kind of use it now as like a time filler.
Same. That's actually the first thing I want to get back into because I used to do that all the time. I remember, like if I was going out with friends and they were coming to pick me up and I was like, oh, they're going to pick me up in a half an hour. So, I just wait. And then I was like, oh, I'll just sit here and play until they show up. That's something to do.
Yes, I do the same thing because our keyboard is like in a room right off the entrance. So I'll be like on my way out the door and I'll see the piano and I'll be like, just 5 minutes. Yep. And I'll like drop everything and like, yeah, it's fun. I think the key is like making it fun again. / at all.
Yeah.
Because as an adult, like, yeah, we don't have to practice. Like, we have more control over it.
Yeah, I think going on that too, like more recently, I know when I've sat down, because that's what I felt like I want to get back to where I was. So yeah, I need to do the technical work and the stuff like that. And I think I've kind of realized like, I'm not doing it for anything like then though. I'm not doing it for competitions. I'm not doing it for music camps. So then I just say like, you know what? I'm just going to play like, I don't know, shit like my Phantom of the Opera or my Tori Amos books. It doesn't need to be, like the great works by the famous composers. It's like,
yeah. I have all those like, great works by the famous composers, but I also have like the Pixies.
Yeah.
And like MGMT. And I just printed all the music from Amelie, that French movie. Have you seen it?
I did like not long after it came out is the only time I saw it. So I don't remember a lot.
Okay. Well, it has a gorgeous piano soundtrack.
Okay.
And yeah, just giving yourself permission to like pursue that stuff. I don't know. What do you have going on the rest of the day?
That's interesting. So, well, I mean, first I have my class, and then we'll see if this happens. We talked about, so the boyfriend's always owned a motorcycle. And
what kind?
He really wants to get me out on it.
Oh my God.
And we've been putting some time into it. It's like he found somebody that was selling a good jacket used for a really good price. So, we've got me a jacket. He recently just went ahead and bought me a helmet. So that's why I was like, we got to find out if you like this because I just bought you a nice helmet.
Oh my God. I hope it fits you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was like, it was somewhere that he was ordering, but we went like to a store and tried on the same brand, so we knew what size. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, good. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Have you ever been on a motorcycle before?
I was saying, I think I have, or, it might not have actually been like a motorcycle. It might have been more kind of like a scooter type thing when I was really young and my cousin had one. And he took, some of us around. And again, I said it was like, this is in the middle of the woods in Michigan. Like, we didn't go on a road because I was probably only like 9. We just rode like some trails so that I could say like, I rode on a bike.
That sounds really fun, first of all. Also, yeah, I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Because some people love riding on the back and other people are terrified, and I'm one of the latter.
Okay.
I hate sitting on the back. I feel so, like, out of control and scared. You really have to trust the person.
But I do have no experience riding in the front, so I can't compare that at least.
Well, yeah, that's why I want to hear how it goes.
That's why I'm like, yeah, I have no experience, so I feel like I have nothing to compare to say, like, ooh, this is worse. So we'll just see, like, is it fun?
I think you'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this is the best time of year to be riding, too.
Yeah, that's also why today is perfect, because we've had several days, like, in the high 80s and 90s, and then
same.
today it just, like, plunged to, like, mid-50s. High might be 60. So it's like, this is the day.
It feels like actual spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've had a lot of hot days, too. It's kind of concerning.
Uh-huh.
I also hate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons I've been staying inside so much lately.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to getting a motorcycle again. Speaking of which, I've also been talking to my brother about it a lot, because we've only, like, ridden together in person once over the last 10 years, but motorcycling is something we both share, and we could talk for hours about it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't talk about this before, but for a while we were gonna start our own podcast about stories that we, like, motorcycle stories and, like, what we learn and how it applies to life and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
It might still happen someday.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, motorcycling is one of those things that, like, you have to be well-nourished, you have to be sober, and you have to, like, have all your wits about you, and it's hard to disassociate on a motorcycle.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I would say it's impossible.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So it's a really great way to, like, ground myself and live in the moment.
That makes sense.
I have to see a picture of you on a motorcycle or I'll die.
Okay,
like,
I'll make sure.
You need to get... Maybe then we'll post on Instagram.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, we can post it on Instagram because we're so good at that.
I know. I asked Lauren for a picture this week, and
I actually sent it, which, you know, that's already
sent it.
Yeah, an accomplishment.
And I didn't post it. I was talking to my friend Rune this week, and they were like, you know what phrase that I absolutely hate? Photo dump. Like, why is it called a dump? It's such an ugly word. And I was like, oh, I've used that word so many times.
Yeah, it's funny. As soon as you said that, I realized why people might not like it, but I'm like, I think that's why I do.
Yeah, you and poop.
Because as soon as I think of it that way, it's funny. It's like, photo poop. Yes.
All these photos have been digesting for months.
Oh, man.
And now we're going to dump them all over your timeline.
Yep.
I hope you have toilet paper.
Ugh.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
I am going to go buy weed after this. The only place... It's like a pop-up shop 40 minutes away. That's, like, invite only, because we're not in a legal state. And so we have to go to measures like that. But yeah, it should be fun. It's a really beautiful day. We're going to drive with the windows down and just chill.
I do always, yeah, it crosses my mind whenever you mention, like, what you have to do to buy. I'm like, it's kind of a bummer that, you know, you don't just have, like, stores on every corner like we do. I've gotten to taking that for granted.
I would also spend way more money if I had a dispensary, like, near me.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, when I went to Baltimore recently and stocked up, and I spent a lot of money.
Especially here. It's taxed so much here. Because I think I told you, when I go back to Michigan, I get the same thing for, like, 60% of the price that I pay here.
Yeah! Well, I remember when we had our in-person episode, we were, like, shopping for gummies on your phone. I don't remember if you, like, went and got it or if you, like, ordered it. I don't know. Cut it all.
When you were here, it might have been before it was legal here, so I might have had to go to Illinois.
That's right. Okay. I think that was it.
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what people who aren't in the U.S. think when they hear all this stuff.
I know.
Like, all the insurance shit, all the drug shit. Yeah. Also, I hope everyone survived tax day, okay?
Oh, yeah. I can't remember something we were talking about, and I was thinking that, and I was going to say, like, in true me fashion at this moment, I managed to do my taxes at, like, 5:30 on the last day.
You and Janai. I did mine, like, a month ago, but I think it's bullshit how, like, we have to do it ourselves.
I know. I mean, did you? I saw a couple times like the meme about that where it was like the government. It's like you have to figure out your taxes, and you're like, don't you know what I owe? And they're like, yes, but we're not going to tell you. And they're like, what if I get it wrong? They're like, then you'll be in trouble with us.
I bet you could come up with a really good metaphor for how ridiculous that is.
I'm sure. I'll work on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else to talk about, y'all.
Nope.
We showed up.
And I'm feeling grateful that Taco is still being calm. So
Taco has been so good this episode.
So maybe we should end on that before he realizes he hasn't gone nuts yet.
Yeah. I hope everyone has a good week. Mm-hmm. And we do have a pickle pull out about blame.
Mm-hmm.
Right before this, I was like, oh shit, I haven't made the graphic. And then I logged into Canva, and it turns out I made the graphic like a week ago, and I forgot about it and didn't post it. So we have a pull up. We're always looking for guests.
Okay, right before we logged on, I thought, like, do I have to have an answer for that? And I was like, no, we never answer them the next week. I have to have at least a week.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we'll see y'all next week, and hopefully we won't be as depressed.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. If you like what you heard, tell a friend about the podcast. You can send them to picklesandvodka.substack.com, where they can listen to our entire catalog and find our newest merch. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/picklesandvodka. My personal Instagram is at xtinajumper, and Lauren's is at Lauren3_AFH. We'll see you next week.